Why is all the transgender transition tutorials aimed purely at Americans? Oh, remarkable Quokka plushie, if only there was a transition tutorial to help the Australian transgender community! Oh wait, I can do that. That's right, lovely audience, this transgender tutorial is purely for the Australian transgender community. Grab your budding snag, and let's go over how to transition in Australia. Also, since most of my audience is from America, can you please like the video so the algorithm does not smite me for acknowledging my home country? Thank you. Alright, step 1. How do we get HRT in Australia? Well, you can head over to the website transhub.org and it'll have a list of gender-affirming doctors. In that list, you can click on one in your area or state and you can check what they do. If the doctor is listed to have hormone initiation informed consent, you are golden. That is the ideal circumstance. What informed consent means is basically you show up at this doctor, you basically sign a form saying, I know what HRT does, I know that my body will change, and then you have a script. That is all there is to it. You can skip the psychologist stage that I had to do. And that was a bit of a pain, but hey, it worked out. All you literally have to do is go on transhub.org, find a gender-affirming doctor, click on them, find their contact information, which is usually the clinic they work at, email them and say, hey, I'm transgender, I want to start HRT. Send the email, they send you a possible time to make the appointment, you book your appointment, you show up, you sign a thing, and you have a script. What do you do with that script? Well, this script will either be digital via a text message on your phone, or it will be a piece of paper that you can just hand to the pharmacy. Now you might be wondering, where is a pharmacy? Now in Australia there's various ones like Chemist Warehouse, that kind of thing. Chances are, shopping centres you already go to, you've walked past 1,000,000 times a chemist. Depending on your background, you may have used a chemist before, or like me, you've likely never walked into one. The crazy thing is, regular little chemists, they do HRT. It's not a specialized medication exclusive to the transgender community. Keep in mind that taking estrogen or testosterone is a medication that cis people need too in some circumstances. So it's not that hard to come by, especially in Australia. Most of these doctors do not have significant waiting lists. You can probably book and see a doctor within a couple of months, okay? When I signed up, I saw all these American videos that said they waited years or months or ages, and when I emailed the clinic, they were like, do you want to come in next week? And I'm like, what do you mean next Tuesday? If you're in a state that doesn't have that many doctors available, you can also do it through Zoom and do it remotely. That way, you don't have to do a 5-hour gauntlet to see a doctor for 5 minutes. So that's good at least. If you want more specific information, there are these websites on the screen that you can go to. They have great resources specific to Australia. Up next is the legal side of things, changing one's name and gender, at least the way it's written down. Now, if you want to change your gender, the easiest way, in my opinion, is to change your passport gender first. You email passport people and you go, hey, I want to change my gender on my passport. You'll have a form, you'll fill it all out, and when they state the reason for the gender change, you will simply say, I am transgender and that is my target gender. That kind of thing. And they just gave it to me, they sent it through the mail, it took a little bit, and then I had it. On the screen here are the website URLs to be able to change your name in Australia. And when you get asked the reason in your paperwork, all you have to say is, I am transgender, I am living as this gender, and they will do it. You don't need your life story in there, you just have to state that, and you're all good. All you need to do is grab that change of name, fill it out, and head on over to the relevant government place for your state. Once you have your chosen name as a certificate and your passport, these magical golden tickets will be what you will hand to so many people over the next few months. Want to change stuff on your bank account? Hand them that form. Want to change stuff in your Medicare? Email them that form. Want to change a bunch of other things? Send them that form. Quite literally, with that passport and change of name certificate, that is the thing that you should have in a nice, convenient location so that at any point you can hand it to someone when you need to do literally anything admin related. Please don't lose these. A thing to keep in mind is in some states you can't change your gender without undergoing a gender-affirming surgery. However, there is a trick to this. You actually can change it on your passport. Don't ask me how, you just can. However, you can't change it on your birth certificate if you're in these following states. Due to this quirk, you can change the gender on your passport and then use your driver's license with the change of name in order to more or less circumvent it. Your passport will have your gender. Your driver's license will not. That will be enough identification for most things. It just means you have to carry your passport a bit more often. Don't be too worried if you don't already have a passport, the process is kind of similar. It's extremely rare for your birth certificate to be required for basically anything, so you can just not choose that as far as your forms of identification when doing things. This way, people will be none the wiser. So speaking of surgery, how the heck do you get surgery done in Australia anyway? So, as you can see, the list of options of surgeons is not very big. I've heard that each surgeon has quite a significant waiting list. The thing I did was go to Thailand to get it done, and I think a lot of people do it that way.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
I know it sounds extremely daunting, however, it was kind of either that or waiting like 5 years. So it's ultimately your call and how you approach it. Just keep in mind that the amount of surgeons we have in Australia are limited to these ones. So, you can check relevant experiences with those surgeons via the Australia Trans Reddit, as always. Now for some social tidbits that may prove useful. Just keep in mind that Australia is surprisingly good at handling discrimination-based things, at least of gender identity. Some areas less so, unfortunately. Keep in mind, if in a workplace you experience transphobia or other similar forms of discrimination, you can escalate it and possibly even sue people. So it's actually very hard for people to be explicitly transphobic towards you. And just remember, if it does happen, there's ways and people that can help you. When I watch YouTube videos from other various countries about transition and experiences, I won't lie, it sounded very hostile in a lot of environments, and Australia is not perfect by any means. However, as far as the English-speaking world's concerned, we're doing pretty good right now. I don't mention politics much on this channel, however, just keep in mind that one person tried to be like the crazy wizard author, and she got laughed out of Parliament, so I think we're doing okay. Next section will be trans voice, how to change the voice. Keep in mind, I have inherent bias in this section as I offer trans voice lessons on Patreon, linked in the description. Just keep in mind that is an option and that will influence the way I talk about trans voice, whether I like it or not. But other than me, just keep in mind that there are various speech pathologists in Australia and they're very skilled, in fact. I mean, I got my voice from a speech pathologist in Australia, so just keep that in mind. TransHub should have a list of all the speech pathologists that are available, and if they aren't listed on TransHub, it's probably a red flag. It might not be something you assume, however, keep in mind that professional speech pathologists are professional speech pathologists. They'll do a way better job than me every day of the week. So I highly recommend, if possible for you and in your budget, I highly recommend seeing a professional speech pathologist. Yes, I offer trans voice lessons, linked in the description. Woohoo, it's my income. Yeah, I get it. But it's up to you what you do, and if I were to make the decision for you, which I shouldn't, I recommend seeing a professional speech pathologist. I'm in the process of becoming a professional speech pathologist, but that's a few years out. And that, lovely audience, was my guide to transitioning if you are from Australia. I wanted to make this video for a while because when I was growing up and transitioning, all the information was so America-centric that it was so hard to find literally anything that detailed what to do in Australia. And that's probably how a lot of countries feel. We're not unique in that, I'm afraid. I hope this video helped you with starting your own transition, and I hope it goes amazing. If you're interested in seeing more generalized trans content every week, you can hit the funny subscribe button, the funny like button. Perhaps let me know in the comments what your favorite Bluey episode is. Mine's Shadowlands, in case you're wondering. I hope you have a great morning, night, and arvo. Thanks for joining this fun little video. As always, stay hydrated and know that you are valid. I'll see you next week.